What's good, bro? All of your pain is self-inflicted. And that's a double-edged sword because that means you can either prolong it or you can put an end to it. When I was in college, I had one of the worst cases of depression I've ever seen. Every single symptom, you name it, I was on it. So when I first went, I wasn't even depressed. That's the crazy thing. I first went to college and I felt good. I felt excited, probably like you do. And every time I was there, from the first week all the way until like 8 weeks later, bro, I was living it up. I was partying, drinking, smoking occasionally, and I was just having a good time. I thought this is how college is like for everybody. I went the first 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks drinking almost every day. I went the next 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks still drinking almost every day. And then eventually, me and my roommate decided, you know what, we need to put an end to this. We need to crack down. And so what did we do? We said for the whole month of November, we are not gonna drink. We called it something crazy, like no fucked up November, no slosh November. And we said, we're done. Guess what happened? By the time it was the 4th day in November, we were certified stoners, bro. We literally just swapped it out because we were missing something inside of us. And so we just filled it in with a substance. We thought that was the best way. And so by the time it was literally time to go home, it was Christmas break now, I had just been literally just filling myself up with toxins and chemicals and all of this shit. And guess what, bro? My mental health went like, and I wondered why. So my second semester came around, and after a long situation with my parents, which I'll get into in another video, I got back to school and I started feeling like anxious when I was there. And I had this girlfriend that I was dealing with, but I didn't really like her that much anymore. I didn't know how to break up with her. So I was stuck in a relationship, stuck with my addictions. And here I am, trying to figure out how to get myself to do the work at school, like you're probably feeling. And so I started to get really bad symptoms of depression. I wanted to sleep in all day. I didn't want to do any work. I felt no motivation. I just felt a down mood unless I was getting lit. And it only got worse when I decided to take a break and go home. I thought that was the best decision for me. I thought, let me just take care of my depression at home and then I'll go back to school. Now looking back, I'm grateful that it happened that way because I needed that. But back then, the best decision probably would have been to stay at school and just figure it out because that's what everybody else was doing. So I came back home and guess what happened to my depression? It got worse. I literally had more free time and no structure. Literally didn't have a class to get to, didn't have a friend to meet up, didn't have a dinner date to go to. I was just lost. And so here I am in my house, waking up at 4 a.m., my sleep is terrible, going outside on the balcony to smoke from a bong, and then coming back inside at 5 a.m. to play some Fortnite. Bro, you can imagine what my existence was like. Can you imagine that? Imagine being in a situation where you feel no motivation to do anything. All you want to do is smoke weed and play video games. And so guess what happened to my mental health? Terrible. So bad. And so fast forward a few years later, I was finally forced to stop drinking because of an OUI that I had. Terrible decision that I made that ended up turning out wonderfully for me. But because of that OUI, I eventually had to stop drinking. And then I had to start implementing good habits in its place. And once I started implementing better habits into my life, guess what happened to my depression? I stopped taking the medication that I was taking. I said, you know what? I don't need it anymore. I slowly stopped taking it. And then all of a sudden I just said, I don't need it at all. I'm just going to stop and I'm going to experience life for myself. If I feel a bad symptom, then I'll know it's because of me, not because of these medications. So I stopped taking it. And guess what happened? My depression disappeared. Now, is that magic or what? Because I had every symptom. Let me tell you, anything you can think of associated with depression, I had. Bro, you can look at my wrist and you can see that I used to literally fuck myself up. So, what did I do? And what did you do to yourself? You got to realize that you're the one who's causing yourself pain. You are the full reason why you feel like shit in life. And if you look at your habits, if you look at what you're doing in life, that's the reason, that is the sum total. That is your life. Because the life that you have is the life that you chose. So if you feel negative symptoms, that is something in you telling you that you need to go do better for yourself. You're worth more than this. A lot of people take something negative that happens to them and they let it consume them, their entire being. And why did you let it consume you? You didn't know any better. But once you realize that the outside events that happen in life don't affect us nearly as much as our response to them, you start to take some accountability. And you start to realize, well, why did this hurt me as much as it did? Well, because I let it. Nobody can hurt you without your consent. So here's the thing. I'm going to make a bold statement here. Depression is not real. It's not real. Being depressed is real. It is a real symptom of life that happens to people. When something bad happens, you can feel depressed. But this entire mental chemical imbalance thing that they're telling you is depression, let go of it. It's bullshit. Because I used to have it. And the biggest reason why I had it wasn't some kind of a chemical imbalance. The biggest reason that led to me having depression was the fact that I believed I had depression. Without that belief system, there is no depression. Without believing in mental illness, there is no mental illness. And that's apart from very serious mental illnesses like schizophrenia, things that have just almost no basis in reality. These people are not living in the real world. Depression is very much something that is propagated and it's sold to people to make them be comfortable with being weak. When you start doing things in your life and you start chasing things in your life, this stuff goes away. So you need to look at what you're doing in life because you are what you repeatedly do. What you need to change is your mindsets and your habits. How do you talk to yourself after you do something dumb? Do you call yourself stupid when you do something and you regret it? Or do you tell yourself, I'm going to do better next time? That small shift is the difference between depression and somebody that actually gets shit done. Because if you're depressed, you're going to take the easy route. You're going to take the path of least resistance. And you're just going to sit there and you're going to be okay with your miserable situation. And that's bullshit. Because you can do better. And how do I know this? Because I did better. And it all started with what I was telling myself. The things that I was repeating in my head. My self-talk. And then my habits. The things that I started to do on a daily basis. If you're not exercising, you deserve your depression. Straight up. Because human beings are meant to move. They're not meant to be sedentary. They're not meant to sit down for hours and hours on end without getting some kind of forceful action in their life. How is your morning routine, bro? Do you wake up and do you pick up this thing as soon as you wake up? Because if you do, you deserve what you're feeling. Think about it. For the past 30 years, we've had some kind of a phone in our life. But for all of millennia, all of human existence before that, they had none of this. And so depression skyrockets. Teenage depression and mental illness skyrockets. Because kids don't know any better. And they don't know what to do with themselves apart from this. So they're stuck. Bro, stop looking at your phone right when you wake up. Why would you do that to yourself? You're putting yourself in a worse situation for the day. You're literally setting yourself up to react to everything. Because you can't even control the one thing you should have control over, which is yourself. So I wake up and I don't check my phone for straight up 2 to 3 hours. Why? Because that time is for you. That time is not for other people to contact you. That time is not for apps to send you notification. That time is not for you to get emails. That time is not for your work to text you and tell you to come in early. That time is for you. You need to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. This is serious. So I know what you're thinking, right? You're probably thinking like, yo, how can I not use my phone? Meanwhile, I'm waiting for a text from my crush. If she texted me, she needs to hear from me pretty much right away. Nah, bro. Let me tell you this. If she needs to hear from you right away, she doesn't even like you. Like, it's that simple. You should be able to set the tone for when you're gonna be able to respond. And if it's your work telling you, hey, we need you to come in early, they don't need you to come in early. They want you to come in early. You can tell them, sorry, I was busy working on myself. Who's gonna hate on you for that? So, remember this, the price of progress is pain and sacrifice. Can you give up the instant things in your life, the instant pleasures, the instant gratification, the easy way, so that you can set yourself up to have a better future? Can you do it? Yes or no? Because if you don't, somebody else will, and you won't get what you want and what you deserve in life. And it all starts with improving your mental health, bro. It really does, because then you can actually do more and you can get way more done. You can have a mindset that's unbreakable, non-negotiable. And then, and only then, will you realize, damn, I was the one who was causing myself all of the pain that I felt. Not the outside situations, not the weather, not your negative relatives and your friends. It was all you. So never forget that, bro. Progress requires pain and sacrifice. Are you willing to do what it takes? Are you willing to sacrifice so that you can see yourself do well? See you in the next one. Peace.